Good evening, hello, and welcome to V8s Online for our coverage of the final round of the Geodesic Racing Oceanic Sprint Championship. My name is Jay Kennedy, filling in for a few moments for Reese Gardner, who is running a little bit late, but he will be here very, very soon. My apologies for hearing double bits of music in the background. We've got all sorts of weird technical issues after a last-second dash to get things ready for the broadcast tonight. But as I said, my name is Jay Kennedy. Alongside me, as always, in the commentary booth for Oceanic Sprint Championship, Brock Cadday. Brock, firstly, welcome along for what has been a fantastic season to culminate tonight. We're in for a pretty good show.
Yeah, I'd say so, Jay. It's good to be here again, and well, these guys haven't disappointed week in, week out when we've come and watched them and seen them race, and I don't think this is going to be any different with the extra bit of strategy thrown in there, being a 1 hour race, which is 15 minutes longer than our regular races here with OSC. I think we're in for a treat, and we've got Anthony Winkleman on pole as well, and he's currently the only guy in with a chance at the championship against Ross Rizzo. So just to lay it out for the viewers out there, Ross Rizzo has to finish 14th in the race if Anthony Winkleman wins the race, and Rizzo will claim the championship for the second time in a row. So there is a little bit of play here at the moment, and again, that will be on their minds as they go out there racing tonight, Jay.
Yeah, it will be. There is a mathematical chance that Mark Silvassi can take the championship away. Trent Thomas will not be able to fight for the championship. He's unfortunately got technical issues and won't be able to make it tonight. But between Rizzo and Winkleman, as you said, it's not much between them, but Rizzo does have one hand on the championship. Silvassi, if he wins the race and both Rizzo and Winkleman DNF and get 0 points, he would win the championship by a solitary 5 points. So there is a mathematical chance, but it's very, very slim. So it really does come down between Rizzo and Winkleman.
Yeah, and that's going to be a great fight. We've seen these Trick Sim Sports guys have been faster than the BMWs all season. They've been the only guys to really make them work. We've got a few others dotted throughout the field, but they've really turned them on. And we've seen some great strategy moves from them as well, and that strategy is going to be seriously important tonight, as well as raw speed, as this is still a sprint championship, so they've really got to go out there and try their absolute hardest, but they do have to make the tyres last an hour. Taking tyres in a stop here will probably end your race in terms of trying to make it to the podium or top 5.
Yeah, exactly right. So you're going to have to do the full hour on a set of tyres. Fuel tank restricted to 33%, so they're going to get around about 24-25 minutes of fuel. We may see someone do the alternate strategy and do something a little bit quirky with a really short stint at the start or at the end, but most guys are probably going to play the 20-minute, 20-minute, 20-minute strategy and break it up into fairly even segments.
I'd say so, but we have seen in OSC that these guys, they throw some pretty wacky strategy options out there and they really make them work. So I think you're very right. We'll probably see a few pioneers take some pretty crazy strategy options, but others will just really try to split the race up into thirds. And also in terms of the mindset that they need to take into this race, they split it up into thirds. They can sort of go, okay, that's behind me. Next third, let's push, let's get this done. So be really curious to see the speed differentials as well as who can take that speed into these, particularly into that last 20 minutes when tyres are starting to trail off a little bit, and they really need to manage the car to get it to the end.
Apologies for not having any vision coming through just yet. Just had some technical issues. I actually had a power outage here until about 20 minutes before going live, so doing everything very last second. We normally have a fair bit more time to prepare, but nothing like being thrown into the absolute deep end with these broadcasts and getting things going at the last second. It's quite common how we do that at the end, but we are getting there, and we will have pictures coming through just before the guys get ready to get out on the circuit for the race proper.
Oh, that's all right, Jay. At least we're here and the power's back on and we can commentate for them. I mean, if they can't see anything, it'll just be like a Radio Limoges broadcast.
Half an hour ago, we were umming and ahhing about what was going to happen if we couldn't go live and how we were going to tackle this without a broadcast tonight. But thankfully, the power gods have come through and meant that we can do things. So notice a few things that are very, very different with some of the cars and how they behave tonight too. Of course, iRacing's brand new build did come out around about 14 or 16 hours or so ago with new cars, new track at Belle Isle, and some pretty cool things that have been added. The main thing that we will see in this race though is the change in the way that the cars behave when they leave the circuit. when you see a car drive through the sand traps now and off on the grass, it is pretty amazing the amount of detail that the tyres actually make through the grass and through the dirt.
Yeah, it's always great to see that the leaps and bounds that iRacing are taking with their content, not only bringing in new cars and tracks for us, but also developing the sites. Yeah, you know, what we feel in the car as well is really important to make sure the game doesn't drop behind in terms of its technology. And yeah, I must say it's really, really cool and definitely adds to it when you see someone go flying off, to see those tracks in the grass behind them. I guess it shows you where not to go when you go off yourself.
That's the checkered flag out for the warm-up session. So we will run through the final race grid for this season, which is the longest race we will have this season as well. Winkelmann will start from pole. Ben Dow will start in second position. Ross Rizzo in third. How's this? Cameron Dance, P4. The man that doesn't qualify very well ever, starting way up in fourth. And if he can move some positions forward like he normally does, he could be in with a very, very good shot tonight. Fifth is Martin Silvassi, so our championship contenders first, third and fifth. Joshua Skin, good job from him in sixth. Adam Briggs seventh. Andrew Welter in eighth position with Desmond Harberger and Chris Hill rounding out the top 10.
And in 11th place, we've got Mr. Hinsey. In 12th, Craig Edwards. 13th is Daniel Misdale. 14th, Steve Jansen. 15th is Damon Stockton. 16th, Richard Hunter. 17th, Mr. Sean Thompson. 18th, Benjamin Johnson. 19th, Reese Keane. And rounding out our top 20, Les Peck.
And then in 21st position, we've got Edward Morgan with Matthew Huppets in 22nd, Rob Harris in 23rd, Isaac Nichols in 24th, and that is our field, 24 cars. A little bit of a smaller field, as expected, final round of the season. Usually do find a few drivers have dropped off, especially with the update to the iRacing build as well coming out today. So a few drivers probably playing around with those things instead of being out on track with us tonight.
Yeah, I'd say so. There's a few new toys, like we were saying before, to play with, and last round of the season, those championship contenders will want to be there to really go for it, and some others will probably just here along for the ride. So as we come through the last corner now, the guys are getting ready to take the green flag. We're watching Anthony Winkelmann as he comes around, brings them around. He's still holding, and it looks like he's now jumped away, gotten a very clean jump there. Ben Dowell has dropped back a little bit off the back there as Ross Rizzo gets quite close to the back of Dowell there as they're coming down into the first turn. Very heavy braking zone here. All got to be careful not to knock anyone out here. As we look back further in the field, it looks like it's clean for the most part. We've got an FSR car out wide there. But for now, the guys keep it pretty clean. Bit of contact in the back of the pack there. No one majorly off though, Jay. Good to see. Good start to the race there.
Great start. A little bit of three-wide action back in the field, but other than that, very, very clean. Guys playing it pretty smart. Very long race, the longest race we will have for this season, being 1 hour in length. But side by side, we've got Adam Briggs and Andrew Welch. Oh, got cars off in the grass and coming back around. That's a Ben Max car. Oh, big impact. That's Damon Stockton. Another couple of cars off as well. Big, big, heavy contact. See if we can get a CPR replay. Matthew Huppets, he is stopped facing the wrong direction. The front of that Ferrari looks very, very sick.
Yeah, it looks like safety car. We've got a safety car as well for that incident.
Yeah, not surprised.
And there's some strategy. So we've got Damon Stockton, looks to have hit an FSR car there and been pushed into the wall, and then Stockton's gone back across the track and hit his teammate there, I think, in Huppets. And yeah, all over Red Road for those guys. That BMW certainly has looked better of Damon Stockton.
Yeah, it looks like Craig Edwards just ran a little bit wide coming through the corner, and as he's come back onto the circuit, I don't think Stockton really realised how little room Edwards had there, and they just bumped wheels. Pretty much a racing incident there, fairly classic incident that you see at this circuit.
Yeah, oh look, it tightens up quite a bit, particularly coming out of that arena section, and yeah, these guys, the spotter probably wasn't working as well. Obviously in the zone, racing hard, so they've just missed out there. But safety car on lap 1, I think the last time we had that was Spa-Francorchamps, and now we've got it again. I don't know if there's going to be much you can do in the way of strategy, but pardon me, we'll see what they do here today when the pits do open.
Yep, if anyone has thought of strategy, it will be the guys that are up the front. The Trick Sim Sports guys been pretty clever with strategy. We saw at Spa and we saw also at Monza as well. They were pretty intelligent with how they played the strategy game. And if anyone plays a strategy smart or can play a strategy game, it will be those guys. So, see as Reese Gardner has finally jumped in. Thank you for jumping in, Reese. Sorry we didn't tell you we were starting early. That's my fault.
That's okay, guys. I'm here now, though, and I'm ready to get started watching the final round of this championship. I know it's been something we've been looking forward to for quite some time.
Yeah, you can say that again, and good to have you here, Reese. And you've just missed the first big accident of the race as a few of the cars come limping back around, and we've had, I think it was Huppets, Edwards, and Stockton all involved in an incident just after the arena section, and now we've got the safety car called. So some pretty crazy scenes here as we first started off.
Yeah, certainly sounds like it. Once I load into the session, I'll be able to have a look at all of the carnage and, well, 1 hour race. Oh, of course, wonderful. That happens. That happens quite a bit. I'll get that fixed up, guys. Sorry about that.
That's all right. That's just rolling on the same technical difficulty theme we've got going with the night with the power outage now. Mic problems. It's all good, guys. It's all part of the fun.
It's all part of the show here. Is the final round of the season. We have to have a bit of fun going on in the commentary box and a little bit of fun going out on track. But I must say, one cool thing that did come from that's the first crash I've seen with the new build. How cool was the big plume of engine smoke and the tyre tracks through the grass? The graphical upgrades in that aspect, they really have worked quite well. That was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, well, that's just demonstrating exactly what we were talking about earlier, and it makes it that much more realistic and makes you feel just like you're there watching it yourselves. And I know I had my uncle over here the other night, and he was watching the Scops qualifying with me, and he looked at it and he said he had to do a bit of a double take because he thought it looked so realistic. And well, iRacing adding these features will just add to that and make it even better for viewers all around the world that are tuning into V8s online.
Now we're hearing fuel numbers around about 24-25 minutes, double that with 2 pit stops needed, so that's 48 minutes. And they're coming past the line, there'll be about 54 minutes to go. Means you're saving around about 2 laps of fuel every stint. It is possible that someone could come in now and only have to pit one more time. I don't think they will though. I think they'll stay out, but there is the option there for some of these guys to pit now and maybe make it home if they are very good on fuel saving.
Yeah, I think you make a good point there. It's important for these guys to consider strategy because we've seen it work very, very well for some of these drivers. As Ross Rizzo is flicking his lights back and forth, Anthony Winkleman flicking his lights back and forth and putting his speed limiter on. These guys may already be in fuel saving mode, and Winkleman tried to fake him out. Rizzo did the same thing there. And they'll stay here for now. Looking back further in the field, it looks like we've got one in. 9th place there in Andrew Welter has decided to come in and take some fuel. We've got a Mercedes in the back of the pack there has taken that too. So there are a few guys. Yep, Richard Hunter has been in and out of pit lane.
Yeah, of course Hunter was involved in that incident on that one. It looks like Welter is the driver that has come in from more towards the front of the field to attempt this pit stop.
We've had
Craig
Edwards
in as well, yeah. He's probably getting damaged from that lap 1 incident too.
I'd say so, and we've got Stockton coming in as well. So these guys, they've been smart. They haven't reset. They've waited and gone around with the pack because now they're likely not to lose a lap depending on the damage. And there you go, fast repairs on, of course. So they'll be able to get straight back out there, which is very smart play by these guys and means they haven't lost any time. Looks like Stockton's just taken his fast repair and is going, but Craig Edwards looks to potentially be taking on some fuel. He's still sitting there in pit lane, so this could be a strategy play by him. We've seen he has a good bit of speed throughout the season, so see what he can do throughout the race. Someone to keep an eye on.
Yeah, guys, I just noticed Craig was hovering above the ground, so that means that he took tyres as well. So a fully fresh car there for Craig Edwards. I'm not sure how intentional the tyres were.
Looks like he may have actually done a full pit stop service rather than using his fast repair, because there is still a little bit of damage behind the left-hand front wheel and also just in front of the right rear. So maybe saving that for just in case later on in the race. See how the car behaves in the next few laps and might have to use it at the next pit stop.
And it's going to be a post-race review there for car 28 versus car 696. That's Craig Edwards and Damon Stockton. So the stewards have said that they're going to review that one after proceedings have concluded.
Yeah, so that one there is going to be post-race, like you said, Reese. So I guess keeps the racing here pure, and who knows, it might just be seen as a racing incident, and that'll be that. But who knows? We'll find out later. Edwards is now at the back of this pack here, with Hunter behind him, obviously. On my timing, anyway, is being shown. So Edwards has probably got fresh tyres on that car too, which, I mean, we're 10 minutes into this race, and even having a lap or two extra as advantage can make a world of difference on these tyres. So the Hunter has actually just spun, we've been told as well. Not really what you need after having come out of the pits. So, yeah, that's not great to see. The safety car lights are off as well, and they're coming around onto the back straight, I believe. So he may not be able to make it around back to the back of that pack there, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, looks to me like, yeah, the actual back of the pack where Craig Edwards is just coming onto the back straight now. So Hunter doesn't have any time to catch up to the back of the pack. He'll have to be a bit careful from here on in. But further up, coming towards the chicane, we got Anthony Winkleman behind the pace car, and already leaving a little bit of a gap to it. We'll see when he and Ross Rizzo go.
Yeah, and as we were saying before, Winkleman needs Rizzo to be back in 14th place. So right now, Rizzo is exactly where he needs to be to take the win. He does not want to take any risks tonight. Just needs to focus on making sure he has a clean race, and he'll have the championship under his belt and be able to wear that #1 for another season. As we've got Winkleman has hit the accelerator as they're coming down the main straight now. Couple of cars are fanning out a little bit here.
Chris Hill.
Chris Hill in the background there. He's fanned out to try and go around in the Mercedes there. Going to brake hard down at the turn 1, and he's really gone deep there, and he's nearly made contact with Silvassi. That was, he did well to pull that one up, to be honest with you. Nearly threw it down the inside of Silvassi and made it work there, but he's going to keep on going. Looking back further in the pack, it's all pretty well sorted. There's a CMR car side by side here as they come down into the arena section with a Ferrari, and that's got a little bit of a nudge there. That's gotten a little bit ugly with the car sort of getting in the way there, but they're going to be all right with the 073 of Daniel Misdale. He's gotten out of the way there well.
Yeah, he certainly has, but unfortunately he's lost quite a few positions out of that. Had to just briefly lift off and take a slowdown penalty from taking too much of that right-handed curb. For the most part, looks like everybody has gotten away remarkably cleanly, and Ben Dowell and Cameron Dance have actually done a good job of staying with the Trick BMWs up front.
Yeah, well, we know that these Trick BMWs, they're fast and they work well together. They've got great strategy. They know what they're doing. Dowell had a little bit of a moment there coming out of the Schumacher S's, but he's still going to keep on going. The BMWs are creating a little bit of a gap here, but I think Dance behind Dowell is going to want to get a proper move on. We were saying before that usually he qualifies a bit further down the pack, but if he has that same motivation to move forwards, he could well be in for a podium at the moment. So this is...
And we've Joshua Skin dropping back, actually. Yeah, Thomas Hens and Sean Thompson very close to each other. Ex-teammates, those two guys, but Joshua Skin really dropping back at the moment. Not quite sure why. Hins having a look at the inside of Thompson at the final corner, as I'm just going to go back and check what happened to Skin.
Yeah, so Hinsy's still right there on the back of Thompson, and this is going to be interesting here. He's not probably got the power under in that Audi, but he's still going to try to throw it down the inside. Not going to make it work there. He's going to try to stick it, just keep it nice and close there, as the Ferrari behind is Misdale in that Ferrari. So that's not Misdale. They're very close up there. My timing is doing some funky things at the moment. There we go. That's a bit better. It is all back working again. So we've got Joshua Skin. Yeah, he's still right up on that battle pack there, so hasn't lost too much time. Potentially just a slowdown.
It was. It was a slowdown on the Schumacher S. He just took a little bit too much AstroTurf through the right-hand portion. As we're looking at Craig Edwards going 3 wide here. Oh, goodness me. That was a little close for comfort. Oh, Edwards trying his best to get past Edward Morgan here, but he's been left out to dry on the outside. Now he's going to leave himself open to an attack by Rob Harris. Edwards not having a very good night here. You can tell that he's got fantastic pace in that AWS Audi, but being mired near the back of the field like this is really playing havoc with his pace right now.
Yeah, exactly it. And also I noticed the car was flashing in front of him as well, which makes life a little bit difficult. We've got just Thompson's run wide as well. I've just flicked back to that battle there because Hinz is still pretty close and we've got Skin behind him too. So there's actually, this is a nice little battle pack forming here as Hinzy's going to try jump back into the draft of Thompson, coming back up to the last few corners here and see what he can do. Hinz is currently in 11th place and that's where he started the race. So I'm sure he's going to want to improve on that. He's got mega pace through that last chicane. He's trying to put Thompson off there, but he just can't quite do it. That Audi is hooked up through there, but now he's just going to have to sit in behind and hopefully try and throw it down the inside at turn 1. But with that Mercedes, with the big V8 under the bonnet there, he may not be able to throw it down the inside.
He did have a little bit of a look there, but whoa, hang on a minute. Have a look there at John on Thomas Hinz. So you can tell he really wants to get back by these guys, but yeah, Hinz falling victim to Sean Thompson's Suzuki's greats. I'm also noticing a pack forming between Cameron Dance and Martin fallen back, and that's going to become a bit interesting with him and Silvassi.
Yeah, I think so. Silvassi, again, being a Trick Sim Sports driver, those guys tune the hell out of those BMWs and they make them work beautifully compared to what is arguably the more superior Audi and Mercedes when you compare the BOP adjustments. So Dance is probably going to have a good battle on his hands here. We're just about to tick over the 15-minute mark of this 1 hour race, so we're already a quarter through this. And, well, I'm sure Dance wants to try and pull away a little bit, but his teammate, the further away his teammate gets, the harder it's going to be for Dance to take advantage of that draft, and the easier it's going to be for Silvassi with that BMW to get right up on the back of him and try to put a move on.
Yeah, it certainly will. That battle for the last position in the top 10 between Thompson, Hinz and Skin is still very much raging as they go down the back straight. Hinz, we've seen, is superior through this last section of the lap at the chicane. We'll see how he goes relative to Thompson here. You can see Hinz gets just a little bit of a better exit, but he's unable to make it work here down the straight. Thompson running wide in the last corner, but it seems to be absolutely no issue for him, and Hinzy just needs to stay in the draft again. Does have a little bit of a sniff of a move here at the first turn, though. We'll see what happens here as they come into the braking zone. No. Hinz is being sensible and just staying behind. Remember, it's a very long race for this championship anyway. I mean, it's only 15 minutes longer, but still, an hour is an hour. You need to take a little bit of extra care.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. And Hinz is he's a pretty smart operator. He knows what he's doing, and he won't want to make any moves that'll take either himself or any other driver out. You know, he wants to do it properly, and if you can't get it down the inside there, it's very easy for the ABS to just kick in and your car goes straight ahead or goes wide at turn 1, and that's probably his prime overtaking opportunity. With the chicane there, not really a good overtaking opportunity with how tight it is and the single line through there. But he's also got to be aware of Skin coming through the back there as well. He is waiting to pounce if Hinz make a single mistake.
Martin Silvassi's gotten by Cameron Dance exiting the Mercedes arena. Not quite sure what the go was there. It may have been a slowdown, actually. I think it was. Dance just cut that last left-hander a little too much and had to let Silvassi by on the straights. So that's Cameron Dance back into 5th place. So no assistance coming for Ben Dowell.
Nope, he's going to have to watch his mirrors big time now, because this could be a Trick Sim Sports 1-2-3 if Silvassi's pace is there. And, well, what a way to end the season for those guys it would be. It is still quite a long way to go here, predicting about 23 more laps at the moment. But, well,
Hinz in the pits.
They're looking strong, and yet Hinz has jumped into the pits. So we were talking about this similar sort of strategy, Jay and I earlier, saying they try split it 20-20 sort of minutes with a 60-minute race. Hinz has come in a bit early, so potentially they get out from behind of Thompson there, not being able to get by, but being held up through some of those faster, more technical sections that the Audi is better in. He's now come in, fuel up, keep on going, and, well, we'll see what happens when the pit cycles sort of push out there. Hinz has gone pretty much down to the back of the pack as well, which will give him some fresh air to work in, which will probably work to his advantage.
Yeah, hopefully so for him. And it's a very quick stop from Thomas Hinz. Just, excuse me, just tyres. Oh, hang on a minute. Adam Briggs around. And his car looks in a little bit of a sorry state coming back onto the track with those excellent new particle effects that iRacing has introduced in the new season build. And it looks like that was contact between himself and Chris Hill.
Yeah, there you go. They're certainly fighting for keeps at the moment, and we'll wait to hear from race control on what comes of that. But yeah, I haven't personally seen the contact, but it may end up in being a bit of a penalty for Chris there. Obviously, contact's usually frowned upon, particularly if it sends a driver off. So we'll see. Briggs has been pretty strong throughout the whole series and has certainly put on a good show for us at a few of the rounds.
He certainly has. Well, Thomas Hinz just taking a little bit of a splash of fuel, and as I was saying, a very quick stop for him. He's now out, looking to be in some especially fresh air. As we're taking a look at Martin Silvassi and Cameron Dance, you know what? Dance has not let Silvassi go as much as I thought he would. He's actually staying with him quite nicely.
Yeah, you're very right there. He's really pushing hard and trying to stay on the back of that BMW, that Trick Sim Sports BMW. And we know Dance is a hard fighter and he really tries his best to put the moves on. And I don't think we'll see him give up that 4th place so easily, particularly when he's still got that other orange TTL car of Ben Dow in the foreground there as he's chasing down Silvassi. I reckon Cam Dance has got his eyes on a podium and he won't stop trying until he gets there.
Yeah, certainly not. We know from his performances all throughout the season that Cam is one of the best racers in this championship in terms of the way he just makes his way up through the field. More often than not, we've seen him start really low down and make his way up, but now he's actually managed to start in a really good position from a 4th place grid spot. So for the first time this season, we're actually able to see what Dance can do from the top of the field.
Yeah, and right now he's not doing too bad either. He's sticking with Silvassi, and these Trick Sim Sports cars have been fairly strong the whole season. And his teammate up ahead, he isn't jumping ahead too far. It's about 3 seconds now, but still got 40 minutes to go in this race. 3 seconds is nothing when you think about it in the case of 40 minutes. So he's doing well and probably just biding his time a bit, maybe even fuel saving. These guys will have that definitely in the back of their mind. A second saved in the pits is a second they don't have to work out on tracks. So I'll be curious to see how he goes for the rest of the race, as Winkleman has absolutely checked out at the front there. He's got 2.3 seconds to his teammate, and that looks like it's going to extend on this lap to nearly 3 seconds. So he is gone like the wind, and I don't know if anyone can stop him on his way to the win tonight. He's looking pretty strong right now.
Yeah, he certainly is. We take a look at Misdale and Welter further down the field. Craig Edwards has just made his way past these two guys, and they are having their own little fight in the process. Misdale wanting to go for the move here at the chicane, but Welter just that little bit later on the brakes, being able to carry more speed. Big advantage there through that part of the circuit that you have being on the outside coming into the chicane. So Misdale's going to have to stay behind just a little longer. So with the top two, I get the feeling Ross Rizzo is just taking it easy. He's not, there's no point in pushing and trying to take the win from his teammate if it means jeopardizing his championship chances. So if he just stays there and maintains second, then that's going to be it.
Well, that's it. And Rizzo doesn't need to take any risk tonight. He's got a damn good lot of speed on the rest of the field, and it's only Winkleman that's really besting him right now. And well, he doesn't need to best Winkleman. He's already on top of the championship, and he's got enough of a gap that it doesn't matter. So he's, like you said, he's just taking it easy, not getting too many incidents, and just really managing it to the end here. And just quickly as well, Chris Hill did get a drive-through penalty for that contact with who was it again?
Adam Briggs.
Adam Briggs, that's it. So he did end up getting a drive-through for that and has now served that drive-through.
Indeed he has. So that's that going to be sorted. As taking a look up the field, Steve Jansen and Sean Thompson we're taking a look at the moment, or Thompson and Skin rather, my apologies.
Yeah, Skin's got a good bit of pace here at the moment, and he was right on the back of Hinsey, so he looks to be pretty strong. And was just biding his time, but now he's got to fight a little bit harder. With Hinsey having created that gap by jumping into the pits, it's now up to Skin to draw Thompson back in. And well, Thompson with that Mercedes engine seems to be a bit stronger, but he's gone a bit wide. But we've got Skin has jumped in the pits, so he's made that tank last about 23 minutes. But we've got to keep in mind we did have a fairly lengthy period of safety car there right at the start, so the fuel calculations will be a little bit off for the rest of this race, but equally create another part of strategy for these guys to fight with.
Yes, they will. We'll see where Joshua Skin comes out and all of that. More news from race control. Rob Harris has been given a warning for contact, so obviously the steward's not too happy with some of Rob Harris's driving in this race. We'll see what comes of that, but meanwhile, the battle for third is definitely on. Martin Silvassi is the filling in a TTL sandwich. So Ben Dowell and Cameron Dance. Bit of a two-pronged assault on Trick Sim Sports tonight, and Dowell actually making a little bit of a mistake in the southern hairpin. So Silvassi smelling blood. But neither of these two TTL esports drivers want Trick Sim Sport to make it a 1-2-3. They'd much prefer it if they could rain on the BMW's parade, so to speak. And Dance is definitely looking like he wants to pressure Silvassi for that fourth spot.
Yeah, that's for sure. And Dowell's going to be feeling it a little bit more now as well, with Dance being so close as well as Silvassi. And well, Dance right now he's close enough to be in the draft of Silvassi, and Silvassi's close enough to be in the draft of Dowell. So on these longer straights, they can really make up some time. And Silvassi was already looking pretty fast, but Dance has really switched it on coming into these last few laps as he got passed by Silvassi. It looks like he's sort of had he's put the visor down and he's really focusing on pushing hard and trying to get past Silvassi again. And like I said, that podium is definitely within reach now, as Dance has a bit of a look there, so does Silvassi, but they both stay in behind. A bit of gamesmanship there, trying to put the other driver out by defending too hard. But they'll come round here. Silvassi's got a bit more to worry about with Dance behind him than what Dowell does right now. It's going to be a bit hard for Silvassi to keep attacking when he's got Dance so close behind.
Yeah, but still, Dowell is just making little mistakes from corner to corner. You saw him briefly lose control in the Mercedes arena, but Cameron Dance definitely proving, I think, that he drives his best when there's a car or two in front of him.
Well, I guess that's it, and part of that, I'm guessing, is the fact that you've got that target in your mind and you want to beat that target. It's much easier when you can visualize what you set. You can either visualize it or you can see it right in front of you. And right now he's got the rear end of a BMW and the rear end of an Audi, and he'd like to be looking in his rearview mirror and seeing the front end of both of those cars. So this is going to prove to be quite the nice battle pack, and I think by the looks of it, it's going to be quite a nice battle, particularly when we come into these pit stops. So we may see a bit of strategy play here, trying to change up the fuel levels to get the jump and skip ahead a little bit.
Yes, indeed. Silvassi really feeling the pressure from Dance through those mid-speed corners. Ben Dowell has checked out from these two guys a little bit. You see Silvassi preemptively covering the inside for the chicane before switching back over. More gamesmanship happening, and it looks like he's actually going for the pits. So there we go. That's the strategy play you were talking about, Brock. Trick Sim Sport once again.
Yeah, he's getting out of there, and I guess that's that similar play to what Hinsey was going for, and that's he's being held up. If he can go in, he might be able to get the jump on these guys in the next couple of laps. Speaking of Hinsey, just quickly, he has jumped Joshua Skin and Sean Thompson while he is in the pits, but Thompson was in the pits at his pit stop for 13.7 seconds, whereas Hinsey was only there for 9.8. So he's got a bit of pressure on him to make sure that gap stays at that or larger on the circuit. Otherwise, he risks having that position taken back again at the final pit stop.
Yes, indeed. That's one thing that you got to think about. Hinsey may have varied his pit stop lengths somewhat, and it's really up to him to try and keep that pace up so that he loses as little time as possible relative to Thompson in the pits, because yeah, if the pit stop time is bigger than the gap on track, well then he's definitely going to be passed. Steve Jansen just exiting the pits, as does Adam Briggs, Benjamin Johnson as well. So we've got a few of the guys lower down in the field taking their stops. Meanwhile, Morgan and Hunter, we are focusing on at the moment, side by side, coming out of the Mercedes arena, and Edward Morgan just breaks a little bit earlier. Richard Hunter goes on by.
So Hunter not doing too bad here, although the question is the strategy element, considering how much fuel these guys have in their car and how far that'll get them into the race. Hunter made a little bit of a mistake there, which meant Morgan could be a bit closer coming into the southern hairpin here, but he's going to have to lay off a bit. Hunter just looks like he's got a little bit more pace on top of Morgan there, so looks like for now that battle's over, but keep an eye on it because Hunter has had the damaged car. We've actually got a car in the background there. It's just done a big slide off. That was Les Peck. He's actually spun around there in that Mercedes and just getting it backed up again. Lost 3 or 4 spots, unfortunately, due to that. And Hins has gone past him as well. So he'll slot back in, no damage, but just a half spin there.
Yeah, and it looks to me like he just lost it by locking the rears, which is a bit interesting because these cars usually have anti-lock brakes. Maybe Les isn't running it.
Yeah, very possibly. I know quite a few iRacers prefer to turn off traction control or the ABS systems, and he's in the pit lane now as well, so he's going to take that pit stop. And it either helps their driving or it can be detrimental in some situations. So, and Dance has actually jumped down in the pit lane.
And they come out right with Silvassi.
And wow! A little bit of contact there. Wow, this is right on here. We said this would be a great battle, and he's still side by side with Silvassi. Silvassi will have the inside line coming to the next corner, but Dance, it looks like he's gotten in front of him.
Attraction. That's amazing.
Great from Dance. That is a great move there. And his pit stop was only 9/10 of a second less than what Silvassi's was. So that was all it took from him. And now Dance has jumped both Silvassi and Dow. Great strategy move there and putting him in a brilliant position for the rest of this race. Well done.
Yeah, certainly, and it looks to me like Silvassi finds himself in the same situation he was in before, except the cars in front and behind are now reversed. So Cameron Dance into position number 3, provisional as it stands.
Yeah, it's looking that way for sure, and Craig Edwards is currently leading the race, but we saw him have that incident at the start of the race and going to the pits, so I'm still a bit iffy on where he'll shake out in the order, as particularly if he's got to take a 3rd pit stop as well. But Dance is checking out a bit from Silvassi right now, and like you said, he's provisional 3rd. I don't believe Winkleman and Rizzo have both pitted as well.
Here we go, Craig Edwards into the pits actually. So speak of the devil, there we go. It would have been interesting to see if Edwards would continue on, because if there was another safety car in this race, he might have afforded to only be able to do one more stop.
Yeah, well, that's it, and I guess he doesn't want to take that risk, so he's going to come in, top it up a little bit. He does have some good speed on him. Go back out there and race his heart out.
That's it. So we'll see where Craig Edwards can end up going from here. Certainly not the kind of race that he would have wanted. Starting in 12th place, he would have been involved in the battles between Hins and Thompson, etc. Were things a little bit different.
Yeah, that's for sure, and that's where we've seen Edwards for most of the season, sort of that top 5 to top 10 range. Hinsy's currently in 9th place and doing well after that strategy play. And I think we're going to have this order shake back out once Edwards is down there. Welter is in the pit lane now, so it looks like we'll all shake out again with Winkleman, Rizzo, Dance, Silvassi, and Dow, your top 5 here.
Yes, indeed. Andrew Welter, actually one of the first lap cars that Anthony Winkleman will come up to here at the southern hairpin. And Ross Rizzo continuing to stay quite a ways behind, but that battle for 3rd is really heating up in the last couple of corners. These two cars are absolutely glued together at the moment. As they come into the Schumacher S, you can see that Silvassi loses out to Dance a bit in that quick section of the circuit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dance has got a great command over this Audi, and he just seems to be able to pull ahead just the tiniest bit from Silvassi. Dowd is right on the back of Silvassi as well. So, again, Silvassi is in this TTL sandwich, but the TTL cars are swapped around here. So, I'll be interested to see whether Dance can pull away. It looks like he's not quite got the strength as a whole at the track to really pull away from Silvassi, but equally Silvassi hasn't got that strength to reel him in, and Dowd doesn't have the strength to pass Silvassi at any of the great passing points. So these guys, they're stuck at the moment, wanting to move around and get past, but not quite being able to achieve it just yet.
Yeah, and you saw Dowell there in the last turn, I think, overshoot the braking zone a little bit, having to turn the last corner into a bit of a late apex thing. Silvassi having another look up the inside of Dance and managed to force him wide by a car width. So you can see in this opening section of the circuit, Silvassi has a lot of confidence, but when it comes to corner exit, it seems that Dance has him for the most part. Through the Mercedes arena, once again, Dance just a little wider than Silvassi was, but again, that power down is where the Audi's really strong.
Yeah, particularly in those slower speed corners, and there are quite a few of them on this circuit. Getting that power down onto particularly some of the longer shoots, is really important. Like here, as we come into the southern hairpin, getting the run out of that corner is critical to making sure you're not vulnerable to a passing manoeuvre. And it looks like they're all just going to stay line astern. Dow's gone a little bit tighter there through that corner, but these guys, it's neck and neck. Like, it's nothing between them. And their best laps are all separated by about a tenth to 2/10 as well. So their pace is extremely equal as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. Makes for some really good racing here. We have, Dance running a bit wide, as does Dowell. Oh, that was a bit of a strange one. Both of those TTLs going wide in that left-hander, and Dance actually running wide once again into the gravel trap. I think a brief lapse in concentration for both TTL drivers there. That spread the pack out a bit, and it might allow Silvassi to get a bit of a wiggle on. Have a look at how much he gained in the braking zone. That's insane.
Yeah, they've really got that BMW hooked up, and he's right up behind the Audi here, so it'll all come down to the draft and the exit out of that corner there. He's right up there behind the Audi. He's not gaining a lot, but all he needs is a little bit of a crossover. Dance has gone defensive there. He knows what's coming, and he's going to try and defend as hard as he can. Watch for Silvassi here. He's going to try and take it around the outside. He'll be pushed out wide there by Dance, and we'll have to slot back in behind. And we'll stay there maybe for another lap as Dance is sort of just braking a little bit, trying to get the car turned in. This has allowed Dow to sneak back up behind a little bit more on Silvassi, potentially catching back up. He does have the fastest lap of the bunch there. And yeah, we'll see how Dow goes here. If Silvassi keeps getting held up a bit, it could well be back on again. And I'll just point out quickly, Rizzo actually has the fastest lap of the race at the moment. He's done a 1:52.8 compared to his teammate who's done a 1:53.5. So just interesting to see that Rizzo does still want to get that best lap over potentially both of his teammates.
He certainly does, and Rizzo actually, yeah, looking quite quick at the moment. So he's obviously found a groove that he's comfortable with. That gap to Anthony Winkleman, though, I think is unassailable for the most part if things stay the way they are in the race. But Craig Edwards now in a battle with Sean Thompson side by side. That's for 12th place. So Craig Edwards, with that move completed, is now back in the position that he started in. So that extra pit stop, I think, turned out to do very well for him there. It's been a good recovery drive so far. We'll see what happens in the last 23 minutes, though.
Yeah. And we're looking at Edwards is doing a great job. We've got Skin versus Briggs as well. So Skin seems to be in the thick of the action at the moment. Briggs has gotten a fairly good run onto the back straight there. We'll see whether this Ferrari power, the prancing horse, can hold him off, and it looks like he will. But we've seen the Audi has been strong through this chicane coming up. As Briggs is quite close here, that Ferrari does carry a good bit of pace through there and actually lengthen that gap a bit back to Briggs. So it's going to stay okay for now, but that was a bit of an awkward entry there for Skin. Not quite what he wanted, and Briggs looked a lot neater through there. Briggs, again, a tad wide there too. So It's getting pretty crazy here as we flash back to Dan, Silvassi and Dow, which is all crunched back up again here. Dow's right on the back of Silvassi, Silvassi on Dance. This is a great battle for our third position and final podium position as well, with roughly 22 and a half minutes to go here, folks. Anything could happen.
It certainly could, and what I'm thinking is that that turn 1 complex is basically the only place where Silvassi could hope to make a move on Dance, and Dance has caught onto that. He manages to pull out a bit of a gap here in the first half of the lap, but Silvassi gets it all back by turn 1. Ben Dowell has gotten back onto the wagon and is really pressuring Martin Silvassi for 4th place at the moment. You can see Silvassi's gotten a really good run out of the southern hairpin, but again, he just gets broken a little bit by Cameron Dance there. Having another tiny look, just half a car width over. Oh, Dance taking quite a bit of curb there. I mean, you can do that at that particular turn. Don't know how well that would do for the stability of the car, though. Once again, the back straight, that Dance has just gotten that throttle application down pat.
Yeah, he really knows how to make the best of it, and he's just really gotten a beautiful run here. And what that means is that he isn't vulnerable to a pass, and that was a very bad run through there. Did not look quite as fast and comfortable as what it should be, but Silvassi has got bigger issues on his hands right now. Dowell is right up behind him again, and this is like a seesaw, basically. He's going back and forth from one TTL car to the other. It's a bit crazy here at the moment, but he's a bit closer to Dance now, coming down into turn 1. I think he'll be a bit too far, but Dance goes a little bit defensive. Silvassi has a bit of a look there. Won't throw it down the inside. This gamesmanship again coming into play. He's trying to psych Dance out, but Dance is exactly where he wants to be. That 3rd position, that'll be a great finish to his season. But roughly 20 minutes left. He's got a lot of work to do to make it to the end, plus 1 more pit stop.
He definitely does, and Dance will know by now that his main advantage is on corner exit. Where he needs to worry about Silvassi is on corner entry. He just needs to try and maximize what his car can do on the exits of the corners, and hopefully for Dance, he will be able to maintain that gap that he just briefly had there down that run to the southern hairpin. It looked like a really good exit there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Dance has been driving a pretty faultless race so far, even with that pressure, but that pressure being alleviated a little bit will just help him drive even better and sort of put in the consistent laps that he really needs. So getting a little bit ahead here of Silvassi will mean that Silvassi has to draw back a bit and focus on Dow, and that could mean the world for Dance to just keep pushing ahead, not have to worry too much about pit stops. And he's run wide there onto the back straight. That is going to ruin his straight line speed, as that sand will have grabbed him in a little bit. Looks like he's going to be able to hold off Silvassi, but compare the speeds through the chicane here. He may be vulnerable coming into that last turn, as Silvassi gets a pretty good run through there, but may not be able to make it work into the last turn. Dance is going to follow, just go around there. He's a little bit wide off the exit there as well, but going to hold it. Silvassi is very close here, getting that draft. He may try to throw it down the inside as well. This is going to be an interesting turn 1.
It certainly will. Silvassi already having a little bit of a look down the straight. The superior braking ability of the BMW comes into play once again. Dance a little wide, but he'll be able to maintain that from Silvassi. It just seems like Martin is not able to get round the outside and make the move that Dance made onto him when he came out of the pits.
And again, that just comes down to the differences in the cars here. As Silvassi runs a little bit wide, I think the Audis have that better downforce and better body. Silvassi's actually having a look here. He's really trying to put Dance out. And the BMWs, they're great handling, but not like they don't have the downforce there to really make those sorts of moves around the outside. Don't think Dan's got the best run he would have ever wanted out of that turn there. I don't think he'll be too vulnerable, but Silvassi's right there, very close. Dow gets quite close to the back of Silvassi there as well. So it's all going on in this little battle pack, and Silvassi runs a little bit wide there. Dow's a bit further back. Dance, this is where he has typically made up quite a bit of time on Silvassi, and again, it works there. That gap has just gone out by about a car length to a car length and a half. Massive effort there by Dance, and he's done well. Hoping not to make the same mistake he made coming around last time. I'm sure he's going to try and avoid doing that. He's obviously pushing hard, and that's more like the run you want to get out of that corner.
It definitely is. So Dance enjoying quite a nice gap to Silvassi at the moment that he hasn't had for the better part of this race. See what Silvassi can do on entry here. It just looks like Dance just is not able to hook up the first apex of that chicane. And Dowell, once again, bit of an awkward entry from him, and he's had to force himself to late apex that last turn, perhaps to try and get a good run down the front straight. So it remains a bit of a stalemate. Oh, a little bit of a look from Dowell as Les Peck comes out of the pits behind those guys. But that battle stays as is. Another battle I think I can see forming further down in the field as Thomas Hinds falls down the order a little bit. Looks like he has taken his second stop. Craig Edwards versus Adam Briggs. Edwards continuing to make his way up. He just made a little bit of a mistake in turn one, but Adam Briggs is someone that Craig Edwards would very much like to get past right now.
Yeah, I think you could say that again. And Edwards, he's doing very well to push through the pack here, and he's technically equal with most other drivers in the field for pit stops. So that any positions he gains on track are proper positions that he's gained. That isn't from strategy or anything. He's just pushing hard. Right now he's in ninth. A couple of guys have pitted, so that may push him back a bit, but making up these positions will do a lot of good as Briggs runs a little bit wide there, both in the Audi, so it nullifies any of those differences between manufacturers as Edwards catches up quite a bit in the braking zone there. He's very strong coming into that southern hairpin there, and has definitely gained quite a bit of time.
Yeah, he has, but you got to think that Edwards qualified 12th and Briggs qualified 7th, so at least in the one lap pace in that particular session, Briggs had the edge on Edwards. In terms of racing, well, Briggs has had a couple of run-ins, one of course with Rob Harris earlier on, as we're looking at Dowell, who is now close enough to Silvassi to try and make a move. Conversely, Silvassi's actually got a run on Dance here too, and Dance goes preemptively defensive. Silvassi going for the inside anyway. Oof, so close.
That
just
was
not able to get the power down though.
Yeah, that was nearly disaster there. His nose came perilously close to the back of Dance's Audi, but these guys, they're very talented and they know what they're doing, and they are racing beautifully tonight. And Silvassi, well, he's just going to have to stick in there for another lap and try again, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, have a look at Dow. A little bit of an mix-up for him coming out of the Mercedes arena. Silvassi actually closer to Dance at this point in the circuit than he was in the past. Dance once again hooking up the exit, just using more of the curb it seems. And Silvassi forced to wait for another few turns, but you can tell he's made a couple of moves, tried his best to anyway, and turn one looks to be his best chance out of any turn around this 6.3 kilometer lap.
Yeah, I think so, and just because that there is where you're getting the biggest draft and the best opportunity, and Silvassi seems pretty strong. Dow was nearly off the track there through that last turn. He was absolutely firing there, and Silvassi is quite a ways back from Dance here as well, so he's really going to have to gain that time in the chicane. And this is what we talk about with racing car drivers. They're setting up moves multiple turns beforehand, and that's what Silvassi has to do now. He has to get the good run through the chicane here, great run through the last turn, and he's actually in the pits now, so he's decided he's going to take his last pit stop. We've just ticked over 14 minutes to go, well within the fuel window, and he's in. And I think that that's going to trigger Dance and Dow to come in, as we've got Briggs and Jansen, Edwards and Briggs, sorry. My mistake, they're fighting it out, and Briggs has decided to peel in there. Yep. Edwards will take that position, and well, probably you can assume that Edwards has got the speed to jump him while he's in the pits and then pop out in front of him when the pit cycles all shake out.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the second pit stop phase proper is well and truly in motion. See Daniel Misdale coming in. Meanwhile, Isaac Nichols and Chris Hill battling out on track along with Matthew Huppets. This is another 3-car battle. Completely different set of cars in this one, though. It's 2 Mercedes and a Ferrari in this one. Have a look at Isaac Nichols' bad exit. This is going to open it up to Chris Hill coming down the back stretch. Through the kink they go, and Hill definitely has the run there. So he's going to go by before the braking zone into the chicane, and Matthew Huppets will have seen all of that happen behind him and will be slightly concerned, I think, with the pace that Hill's apparently got. Reese Keane as well coming into play.
Yeah, and Hill's he's pretty much. Oh, geez, that was a bit silly there. Nearly got put off the track there. Huppets was really trying to defend, but nearly put Hill off the track. So Hill's going to go straight down the inside here. Remember, he got that drive-through, so he's a little bit faster than where he is now. He's pushed Huppets out of the way a little bit there. He's really tried to maximise the usage of the track, if you will. As we've got in the background there, Isaac Nichols is fighting with one of those BMWs as well that's just peeled out of the pit lane. We've got Reese Keane, Nichols, Huppets all together there fighting it out. Nichols has had another moment there as Briggs comes out, and he's probably going to try to shove it down the inside here following through his teammate. And Nichols, another mistake there. He is not having a good start to this lap.
Certainly not. So that's both DBR cars there by him. Adam Briggs, the one that just come out of the pits. Reese Keane has been circulating for a while, I think. But Isaac Nichols, that run from him was probably not one that he'll look back on with any fondness. Chris Hill has checked out from this pack, though. Have a look at the gap he's pulled already. Matthew Huppets will now have to start worrying about Keane and Briggs.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. And Hill, like I said, he started a bit further up the pack, but because of that drive-through, he got thrown down the order just a little bit. So he's actually -7 on his starting position there. So he's got a bit of work to do to get back up to where he started. And, well, he's going the right way about it, making some good passes throughout the pack there. So we look and we've got Huppets with Keane, and he's gonna go side by side with him through the chicane here. And oh my goodness, that is very close. Good racing there, guys. He may have to give that position away. No, he's going to fight it coming into... And they've made contact! No. Keane is around there as Huppets goes through. His teammate Briggs will go through as well, and that is contact at the last turn. He's going to keep going, won't be too bad, but you could sort of see that brewing as well.
Yeah, replay on screen at the moment. Matthew Huppets just looks like he went for the move there under brakes, but just couldn't get the car turned in time. Went in way too hot. You could see that Keane was staying wide there, anticipating the move as Winkleman enters the pits. But one thing he wasn't counting on was Huppets running out of front end.
And we've got Dance in the pit lane as well. So this is going to be a critical stop for Dance. Dale has continued going around, and we also had Winkleman in the pit lane as well. So this is going to be a major stop for him. He's got to make sure he gets it right. Otherwise, he risks losing that position to Silvassi. We've seen how hard it is for the Audi and the BMW to make passes on each other. They just can't do it. They get close, but they just can't make it work at any point on this circuit. So watch him here. He revved the engine just a little bit. He's going to want to get out here soon. Silvassi, where is he on track? He's just come onto the front straight here. It looks like Dance is accelerating now in a pit lane. This is going to be very close. Looks like Dance might just pip him here, but Silvassi will have the slightly warmer tyres, having been out on track a bit longer. But Dance has definitely got the gap on him there and will maintain that provisional third position for the time being. As the next big question is, where will Dale come out in all of this?
That's exactly right, and Silvassi will be absolutely fuming in the driver's seat of that BMW, wanting to undercut Dance, get that move done in the pits, all to have Dance come out in front of him once again. He's gonna... Whoa, hold on a minute. Dance having a little bit of a moment, so still getting used to these cooler tyres. Remember, GT3 cars use tyre warmers, so they don't necessarily have to worry about the tyres being cold, so to speak. They're just not as warm, but it still plays a little bit of a factor when they haven't come up to pressure yet. And you can see Dance is struggling a little bit through the southern part of the circuit. Silvassi with that added confidence.
Exactly it, and also Dance is going to have a bit more fuel on board as well compared to where he was, so he's got to get used to the car feeling a little bit heavier and probably a little bit more understeery. But I think he's probably, the tyres should be coming up to pressure around about now and should be ready to rock and roll. So now this battle is going to be well and truly back on, as we've got Dowell in the pit lane now as well. So this is going to be, and we've got Rizzo has also come into the pit lane to take his stop. So our top 5 are all will have all been serviced by the time Rizzo and Dow come out of the pit lane. Rizzo is going to leave the exit now. We've got Dow, who's just coming towards the end of pit lane. He's stopping and taking his pit stop there. So have a look at where Dance and Silvassi are. They're coming through the last corner now. We wait and see. Dow is popping out the end of pit lane now. Looks like Dance and Silvassi will be able to pip him. We watch now. It's going to be pretty close here, actually. Oh
yeah,
my goodness,
he's come out in front. Only just. Will Dance be able to get back by him, though?
Looks like he's going to be close there. The teammates are going to be very careful. Dance is taking extreme inside line there. He's got the inside line for the arena section, but he's going to give it up here. Dow has gone back into 3rd place. Oh my goodness, these pit cycles are throwing everything at us tonight. And now Silvassi is behind the 2 TTL cars. What has happened here? They have swapped roles.
Yeah, certainly. And Silvassi made a little bit of a mistake coming out of the Mercedes arena. So Dowell and Dance, TTL 3 and 4 at the moment. And you could see Dowell using that same sort of strategy that Dance used on Silvassi, taking that wider entry into turn 2. And even though he was on the outside, it allowed him to complete the move on exit with that superior traction. And now, the question on my mind is, will they battle until the end, or will they hold station to try and keep Silvassi behind?
Well, I think that I don't think Team Order should come into this. Cam.
Oh no!
And that was a moment and a half there for Dow. That could have all gone wrong, and now Dance is going to have quite a good run here. And like I was saying, I don't think Team Orders will come into this. This is going to be race for your lives, boys. It's the last round. We'll come back next season and try again. But TTL have got a really strong showing here, and could well take 3rd and 4th. It's just a matter of which driver takes 3rd and which driver takes 4th.
That's exactly right. And if Dowell keeps making mistakes like that, it's going to be Dance taking 3rd. Another mistake from Dowell in the last turn. He's barely got that car. Oh, goodness me, yes. Barely got that car sorted out on his outlap. Silvassi, yes, running wide out of the last turn. And it looks like he has lost out quite a bit to the 2 TTL cars there. So certainly not the couple of laps that Silvassi would have wanted. Maybe not Dance either.
No, I think you can say that again. And look at the gap now, Dance to Dowell, and in equal machinery, Dowell's shown some pretty good pace, albeit with a couple of mistakes, and Dance has shown some great pace tonight as well. So it'll just be interesting to see if he can catch it up. We've only really got 3.5 laps here left as well, so he hasn't got much time to grab that podium position back.
He certainly hasn't. We're looking at Benjamin Johnson and Adam Briggs here. Briggs looking very aggressive in the last part of the circuit, wanting to get by Johnson, who has only recently been through the pit lane, I believe. You could tell coming through the last section of the track, Briggs definitely felt he had a right to be alongside or past Benjamin. But he's definitely got quite a bit of BMW to contend with in the first part of the circuit. And then, if he does get by, he'll have to start worrying about Daniel Misdale just up ahead as well. But
sorry, Reese, we just had Dow's had a big moment coming onto the straight, onto the back straight there. Dance is going to be right on the back of him. He did another big drift out sideways, and unfortunately he doesn't get any points for that one. He's got to be driving straight on the racing line, and Dance is going to be very close here coming into the chicane. It's brought Silvassi right into this as well. Dance is in prime position. He's poked his nose a little bit into the chicane here, but not gotten the greatest run either. Silvassi's right on the back of Dance, and there's no time like the present to make these moves, because they have got 3 laps to go this time round according to my timing.
A very good exit from Martin Silvassi too. Dance will have seen that, and Silvassi goes for it right at the start of the front straight, but Dance going really defensive down in the latter part of the start-finish straight. Silvassi trying to get that exit. Will he be able to hold the outside? He's going to have a go, but he's not going to be able to. He won't be able to get the crossover done either because Dance, once again, that big traction from the TTL Audi. Dowell just bringing up little puffs of smoke, soaring away at the wheel in front of them. Goodness.
And we've got some back markers as well that they're coming up on, so this is just adding fuel to the flame really on what has already been a great battle for us. These guys have really kept us interesting for near 40 minutes now as that back marker has gotten out of the way. Well done to him. That is a very good move on his part. As we watch them come down for the southern hairpin now, still in that same order. Dance had an opportunity, but just couldn't quite get it right at the back end of that straight with the chicane, as Silvassi is quite close here, using all the track and some more. He's got to watch himself here. Dance is strong through the Schumacher S's, but that BMW has a little bit more straight line speed by the looks of it, and also has been a bit stronger through the chicane than what Dance has. He hasn't been able to really capitalise on that downforce. He's run a little bit wide there. Dow's got a gap in front of him, so he doesn't have to worry about attacking at the moment. Dance has got to worry about defending hard and maintaining this fourth position. He's also fighting Hinsey for, I think it's one of the higher spots in the championship, so he's really got to fight it out now to bring home as many points as he can.
Yes, indeed, and once again, very aggressive into the chicane is Cameron Dance, but Silvassi gets a bit of a move on exit. We'll see how well he can exit the last turn this time around. It's pretty much the same. Losing out slightly to Dance in the initial acceleration phase. Oh, Matthew Huppert's behind them. He's off the circuit. He's on the racing line. Careful, guys. And he's just jumped straight out into... Whoa, hang on a minute. Martin Silvassi around the outside of turn 1. Oh, he couldn't get it done, though.
He's right there, yeah. These guys, I think if Dow can keep it straight, this is probably going to be... And Huppert's is disconnected as well. This is probably going to be a battle for fourth position here by the looks of it.
Yes, indeed. So, with Anthony Winkleman halfway around his 29th lap, this is going to be the penultimate lap of this race. So, Martin Silvassi, if he wants fourth, maybe even third, he really has to start attacking now. He doesn't have much long left to go.
Yeah, you can say that again, and Silvassi's he's
He
there or thereabouts.
Go.
Yeah, he's there or thereabouts, and he's really got to take advantage of it. And now we're looking here as they come into the Schumacher S's, and Dance is pretty strong through there, taking a lot of curb, really trying to get that gap up. And unless Dow makes a mistake, well, it looks like third position is pretty much his. He's not doing Tokyo drifting out wide there, so that's probably a smart move on his part. He can do that after the race. And Dance and Silvassi still battling it out behind him. Silvassi's probably a little far back now on this back straight. The gaps are a bit too big to make any passes, really.
Yeah, it is. Have a look. The gap between Silvassi and Dance at that section is pretty immense. We've got one lap left to go, though. Can Silvassi get it done? I honestly don't know at this stage. He slides a little bit in the mid-corner in the last turn, and he's definitely not close enough to make a move at turn 1. I don't know if he'll be able to get it.
Yeah, that's it. Well, like we've said, turn 1 is his best opportunity, and once we get past here, it's the last time he's going to have a racing lap around turn 1, so for this season anyway. So he's really got to try and bring it up on the back of Dance and do his absolute best, but it looks like the tyres have probably had it, the drivers probably had it. It's a longer race tonight. We're on our last lap here at the Nurburgring GP circuit. And yeah, they might just nurse it back. Silvassi had a little bit of a wiggle there as well through the arena section. Dow's checked out there. We look at our leaders. Winkleman's got about 4.2 seconds on Rizzo. Looks like, provided no mistakes are made or anything, as we've got Dance a little bit wide in the background there, actually. Speaking of mistakes made.
I'll tell you what, there's a move on, actually, sorry. Desmond Harburger versus Craig Edwards. This is for 8th position. Harburger really struggling with that Mercedes as Edwards really attacks him here. Sorry to interrupt you, Brock, but this is quite the interesting battle going on right now. Harburger, where he started in 9th place, but Craig Edwards wanting to salvage what was basically a ruined race right at the start. So this is looking quite interesting. He hasn't got much time left to go, but Anthony Winkleman a race leader coming through the last turn. Once again, it's been a case of, well, he's been so far ahead, we've barely given him any screen time.
Pardon me. Yeah, that's exactly it. He's managed this race beautifully, and well, he's brought it home. So I'm still watching this battle with Edwards and Harburger, because Edwards is all over him. He tried to sort of take the outside line. He's actually going to just about make that work as well onto the back straight here, and he has. He is now in front of Harburger for 9th place, and even with pitting early and having to do an extra pit stop, Edwards is still going to look like bringing home 9th place, which is +3 on his starting position. Well done to Craig Edwards. That is a massive effort.
It certainly is, and Cameron Dance managed to hold off Martin Silvassi at the end there. Just a little bit of contact between Harburger and Edwards in the final turn, but Edwards does cross the line to finish in 9th place. But man, Ross Rizzo currently on screen. What can you say about him other than he is the champion? Ross Rizzo has taken back-to-back championship wins in the Geodesic Racing Oceanic Sprint Championship. This first full bi-weekly season of the series, and well, Rizzo managed to weather all of the changes made to the series, from the calendar to the way things were run to being locked into a car choice throughout the entire season, and those will be some well-deserved burnouts happening right there in the Trick Sim Sports camp. Ross Rizzo, P1, fantastic.
Yeah, what an effort from Ross Rizzo. Trick Sim Sports have been strong all season, and Rizzo has been extremely consistent and extremely strong. I was looking at his points, and he's won one race, and he's had quite a few podiums, and he's been the most consistent of all the drivers out there. And while he didn't take all the wins or anything like that, consistency is key, and he has done an amazing job. Back-to-back championships. Ross Rizzo, you've made that BMW work beautifully, and also knows how to make a pretty nice donut as well.
Yeah, he certainly does. Some nice donuts being done there in that BMW Z4. Well, that Z4, it's a pretty old car by the standards that iRacing has, but it's still no less of a quick one. So our race results then for this last round of the season before we resume for season 3 on July the 4th. Anthony Winkleman in car 96 takes the win, but Ross Rizzo in second has won the war, the championship. He will take second place on the podium, but P1 in the standings. Ben Dowell from TTL Esports finishes in 3rd place, with Cameron Dance in 4th, just holding off the 3rd Trick Sim Sports BMW, Martin Silvassi, in 5th. Andrew Welter finishing an awesome 6th place, starting from 8th. Thomas Hins from 11th to 7th. That's a very good run from him. Steve Jansen too. Big shout out to him. 8th place from 14th. Craig Edwards, though, I think one of the drives of the race, managed to salvage what could have been a retirement, and has managed to finish in the top 10 from starting 12th and being all the way at the back of the field. Desmond Harburger rounds out the top 10 in a strong run.
And in 11th place, we've got Joshua Skin. Sean Thompson ended up in 12th place, making up 5 positions. Well done to him. Adam Briggs in 13th place. 14th was Daniel Misdale. Benjamin Johnson in 15th. Richard Hunter 16th. Reese Keane in 17th. Rob Harris also making up 5 positions in 18th. Damon Stockton 19th. And rounding out our top 20 is Chris Hill.
Our not retirements. What am I saying? It's just an instant thing for me. Isaac Nichols finishes in 21st place, with Edward Morgan and Les Peck in 22nd and 23rd. They are finishers, but our only retirement for this race is Matthew Huppert's. Shame for him, right from the end. He had to retire from this race. So that is your field. And inside the comms box now, we have Anthony Winkleman. Anthony, congratulations on yet another victory. We barely gave you any screen time once again.
No, look, I don't blame you, mate. It wasn't that exciting up front anyway. Like, Muddy was in a fair battle for the whole race. So it was good back there. But yeah, no, pretty good race. Bit of fun.
And with that, Trick Sim Sports have taken the Series Teams Championship. How does it feel to be part of the championship winning team?
Yeah, amazing, man. Like, this is our first league as a team. Like, we're only small. There's only 3 of us, but not only to get the championship, but I'm pretty sure looking at points we're 1, 2, 3 in the championship as well. So huge kudos to the boys. Like we've had a ball doing it, and yeah, man, it's really paid off.
Certainly has. Well, considering your fantastic run this season, do you have incredible levels of optimism for season 3?
Take it as it comes, mate. Like I don't even think we've touched on season 3 at all just yet. Concentrate on what's ahead of us, but yeah, we'll see what it brings, man. We'll definitely be back, that's for sure.
Well, congratulations once again, Anthony Winkleman. Who would you like to thank before we let you go?
I'd like to thank Ross for giving me the heartache, mate. No, I can't. He's been great all season. He deserves the crown back again, mate. He's drove an exceptional series, and can't take that away from him. He's done really well. We've got our sponsors, Trick Custom Fabrications and HRS, for their support. Simon and the boys from GLA for hosting the series, doing a great job, and of course you guys for the broadcast.
Thank you very much, Anthony. We will see you in 4 weeks' time for the start of season 3. Ross Rizzo, though, joining us in the comms box. Welcome, Ross. You are the champion once again, back to back. How do those 3 words feel?
Really unexpected, to be honest. You know, first thing I said when I had the pleasure of putting the number 1 on the car at the start of the season was, you know, savor this because it's probably not going to happen again. Not with the field as strong as it was. So I liked it so much that I get to do it again. Isn't that great? It's just been awesome. There's a lot of pride, I think, you know, with myself, the team, where we've come this season and things like that. So yeah, it's just really cool, and it's been a pleasure to compete in this series.
It was certainly a KK Rosberg style championship from you. You've only won 1 race this season, but you managed to stay up there all throughout the season. At the end of the day, you were the one with the most points. So the strategy's obviously worked for you this season. What about next season?
Oh, it's kind of still early to think about that. I think just more of the same. It's clearly working. So yeah, just getting the points where we can, maximizing results where we can, and yeah, just taking it 1 race at a time, as Ant said.
Certainly. Well, congratulations once again, Ross. It's been one hell of a season from you and the rest of the Trick Sim Sports guys in the BMWs. Actually, speaking of which, I do have one more question from you. BMW's obviously working. Are you taking that same if it ain't broke, don't fix it attitude with car choice as well?
Well, if we went with that this season, we would have stuck with the Merc, and who knows what happened. So I guess anything's on the table at this stage.
Well, we'll see what cars we see you guys in next season. Thank you very much, Ross.
Thanks very much, guys.
Ross Rizzo, your series champion. For our final driver interview of the night, we got TTL Esports Cameron Dance in the box with us. Cam, it is a 4th place finish from you. Rarely do we get to see you in this series start at the top and finish near the top as well. But it was a huge battle between your teammate and Martin Silvassi.
Yeah, no, it was actually a very, very good race. Have to say massive thanks to the boys at TTL Esports, Rogers, and all the BGT boys. They've done an absolutely awesome job setting the car up from when they did the World Championship race, and that setup definitely showed tonight that it had some decent pace. So, no, it was a very, very good battle with both Ben and also Martin. So, props to those two on making an absolutely awesome race.
With the strategy, did you guys believe that you had the edge on Martin? And I suppose it was really a case of big defensive moves into turn 1, particularly towards the end of the race. Did you feel you had the edge, though?
As far as strategy, I'm not 100% sure. I know I'd worked something out prior to the race, but then the safety car kind of threw that straight out the window. So we had to kind of go off a little bit of just standard sort of stuff, run the tank out and then fill it up and then go again sort of thing. So yeah, I'm not sure what Martin's fuel numbers were, but we seemed to be a little bit quicker in the pit stop, which was quite interesting. So that's a little bit of a bonus. But yeah, I wasn't entirely sure what we were going to do as far as strategy. It was just pretty much going to be fill it up and then splash and dash at the end, really.
So coming off of this very good end to the season, I've asked both the Trick Sim Sports guys about this, and they both said that it's pretty early to start thinking about next season. But are you thinking about next season?
I've put a little bit of thought of it into it. I can't really comment too much, but at this stage, as far as car choice, we'll probably stick with the Audi, just primarily because of the fact that the Pro Boys are all driving it and they've got that experience with the car. So we'll probably stick with it if we do next season. But at this stage, I can't really make too many comments on whether we're going to be actually racing next season or not.
Well, either way, it's a 4th place finish for you, a podium for your teammate, a very good result for TTL Esports. Who would you like to thank, Cam?
Yeah, just like to thank obviously the boys at TTL Esports, Mick, for the awesome car and all the support and all that sort of stuff, and also our sponsors, Hyper Stimulator, Down Under Graphics, Asher Racing, and also you guys at V8s Online for putting on an absolute awesome broadcast every single time the rounds come around.
Thank you very much, Cam. So those were your driver interviews for tonight. And finally, in the commentary box, we have Series Administrator Simon Mazzomo. Simon, welcome to the commentary box. What a season it's been.
Oh, it's been awesome. Second year, part of me was sort of thinking I wouldn't get a second season out, but we've got to the end of season 2, and this year we've sort of grown significantly in numbers, and just the level of racing has also improved as well. So I'm looking forward to season 3. If it's anything to go by, it's going to get better again. So, but yeah, it's been amazing to be a part of it, and yeah, can't thank the guys enough for tuning in and racing.
Certainly, it was a big step up from last season, especially with Geodesic Racing coming on board as series title sponsor. So we have been talking about next season, of course. Being the broadcasters, we do have a little bit of a look in as to what's coming up in future seasons. And boy, is Oceanic Sprint Championship looking very good for season 3.
It's looking very good. We're, as I was sort of saying to the guys on the server, we're still finding out a few little things. We do have, I'm not going to give away too much too early because I'll wait for the release next week. But yeah, the format is changing. We have got to listen to a lot of the feedback from the other drivers. And that's one thing I sort of really want to do with a lot of these series is get driver feedback, because at the end of the day, this is what it's for. It's for them. A few guys have said, this is sort of the things we want to sort of see in the future, and we've taken a lot of that on board. And yeah, like I said, it is going to be changing. It's going to bring a brand new element. There's the element that we're going to sort of bring in for some of the changes. It's going to make it probably a little bit more professional, and it's also going to sort of throw a different element at the drivers. So yeah, not going to give too much away just yet.
Well, if you want to find out, you can always like the GT Leagues Australia Facebook page for more news, and keep track of what the guys over there are doing with their series. They also run the Oceanic Sprint Championship, and coming up next season as a counterpart to this series, Simon, we got the Porsche Super Cup.
Yes, I've actually been given the go-ahead by Phil as well. I can put the racing gloves on too and actually jump in that one. So you won't see me in race control for that. So, but yeah, no, I have to say big thanks to Jay as well, because he came on board with that as well and sort of helped me put that together. We did want to do something that sort of separated the GT series, and it just sort of seemed the natural option to go that way. So he sort of helped me out a lot with that. So big thanks to him, and and getting that sorted. So yeah, looking forward to it as well. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yes, indeed. On to season 3. We certainly can't wait. We hope that all the viewers out there can't wait either. We know you can't wait either, Simon. So thank you very much for joining us in the commentary box. Hopefully we get to chat to you again, maybe in the next season in the Porsches as a driver.
Yeah, if you do interviews for last place, maybe.
Don't be so hard on yourself. We'll see what happens. We know from watching this series that anything can happen. Might be the same in the Porsches.
We hope so. We hope so. But as long as it's good racing, then that's all that matters.
Certainly, and good racing there was in the Geodesic Racing Oceanic Sprint Championship. Season 2. Well, Brock, it's the end of the season. On to Season 3 once again. I mean, looking back on this season, we've certainly seen some fantastic driving, some incredible strategy plays. These guys have something good going here.
Yeah, that's for sure. On the fact that it's worked, so the formula's worked so well through season 1 and season 2, and like Simon said, the series is growing, and to get a field as big as we did for this last round as well was really good to see. Particularly a track that probably isn't a fan favorite that a lot of people think of when they think a great racetrack. But it's great to see it, and I'm seriously keen not only for the GT3, the Geodesic Racing Oceanic Sprint Championship, but also for the Porsche Super Cup series. I love the Porsche, and it really puts on some great racing. I know some people out there that call it a mini V8 supercar, and I think we're going to get some great racing every Wednesday for the second half of this year.
Certainly. We're all looking forward to that, and we hope you are too. Make sure to like V8s Online on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube as well. Jump onto v8sonline.com for all of the latest news on what we do and what's happening in the Australian and New Zealand sim racing community. The fun doesn't stop. Be sure to keep tuned in to all of our social media channels for more news. But for this series in particular, we will see you in a month's time. My name is Reese Gardner. Joining me in the commentary box has been Brock Cat-Eye, and directing Jay Kennedy. This has been the GT Leagues Australia Geodesic Racing Oceanic Sprint Championship. Your second season champion is Ross Rizzo. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time.